Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Becoming CEOAF podcast. I'm your host, Kimba Garcia.
And I am your co-host, Amanda Bell.
Today, we have a very special guest with us, one of our brand new coaches at CEOAF, Mr. Jonathan Fail. Thanks for being here, Jonathan.
Oh, I'm super excited. Thanks so much for having me.
We are super excited too. So Jonathan, fun fact one, he is one of the most senior clients, if you will, here at CEOAF. And what I mean by that is that he's been with us the longest. Jonathan did one-on-one coaching with me before the Warrior program was actually launched, and then ended up jumping into the Warrior One pod, the first Warrior One pod after we launched. So Jonathan, tell us a little bit, for people that don't know you, right? Let's just get to know Jonathan for a second. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Yeah, so about me personally, from South Mississippi, born and raised down here, love the small town life, but being right next to New Orleans, so it's a lot of fun. Got a beautiful wife and a beautiful little 2-year-old girl, who they'll come in a little bit later into my story. About my motivations and such, but so I've got Free LLC Construction. We do roofing, remodeling, and new construction here in South Mississippi, Southeast Louisiana. So I've got that business. I'm also a real estate broker and now a coach with CEOAF.
I love it so much, you guys. Can you just feel how he already fits all the way in with CEOAF? He's got a construction company, Kimba Garcia. He's a licensed broker, Amanda Bell Realty Group. And now he's a coach with CEOAF. Whole family circle dynamic going on there. I love it so much, John.
Also, Jonathan, fun fact 1 or 2, I guess now. He's so tall. I don't think that y'all can see how tall he is with him sitting down. He is so tall.
Yeah. Jonathan, how tall are you?
I am 6'5".
That's tall. For perspective, Amanda and I are both 5'2".
Yep.
So, little bit of a height difference, which is actually why I love giving Jonathan hugs, because it's up.
14 inches up to be exact.
14 inches up to be exact. So, Jonathan, with you have a new slogan, right, that you've recently developed, and I want to hear the story because I think it rolls so beautifully in with your family and with your motivation. And you just mentioned in that. Will you go ahead and tell everybody about Burn the Ships, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple of years ago, I started this business. So Free LLC Construction launched the 1st of 2021. My wife was a second grade teacher. That's what she went to school for. She loved it, loved the teaching side of things. But every day she was dealt the hand of the absolute worst that these kids were going through. I mean, seeing kids living in poverty, seeing kids, not get the support they need at home, and it was wearing her down. I mean, so every day coming home, just beat and stressed, and seeing what all these kids were going through, it was really taking a toll on her. And so she came home, and it got to the point where it was so bad with the COVID pandemic and just all the different regulations that teachers go through for next to $0. I saw the stress that it was putting on her. And when I saw that, I told her, I think it was in end of 2020. So the start of that school year, I told her, I said, look, you don't have to go back to work next year. So our daughter was born in May of 2020. So right in the height of the pandemic. And I knew at that point, there is nothing stopping me from giving her anything and everything that she wants. And at this point, she's 2 years old now, and she gets just about anything and everything that she wants. So being able to give her the world and give my wife the world, that's what meant the most to me. And so I started this business. We went literally through hell, fighting through any bad thing that you can imagine that can happen to a business. We've just about been through it all. And so it got to the point where I just had to be successful or die trying, pretty much. Like there was no other option.
There's no plan B.
Yeah, no plan B, no second choice. I'm not going to get a 9 to 5 job because, well, it's just not for me.
Sure.
So like that was kind of where my life was at that point. And I heard the story of Hernan Cortez whenever he came to the New World back in the 1500s, I think it was, to conquer the Aztec Empire. And so they pulled up on shore. They landed. I don't remember exactly where it was. I think somewhere in Mexico. And he told his right hand man, he said, "Hey, go and burn the ships." What? Just do it. Go burn the ships. And so he did because he didn't want his people to turn and run. Right? They were going to conquer the Aztecs or die trying. And so I take that philosophy and I put it into my business of, either we're going to make this work or make it work. There's no
I
other
love that.
option,
We're going to make it work. Or we're going to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So how do you guys want to
exactly.
make it all work? Also, Jonathan,
That's it.
you gave me goosebumps talking to me about telling us about your daughter and your wife, and I think just that fraction of your story. I love Burn the Ships, man. In fact, I just knew coming on here with you today, that's where I was going to spend most of my energy, was focused on that story, because when you told it to me, it also gave me goosebumps the first time originally. So you guys, Jonathan's slogan with CEOAF that we are in the process of bringing to life currently is Burn the Ships. And it is beautiful. It's got the smoke, it's got the ship, it's all the things. And I'm just so excited for that merch line to come out with Jonathan Fell all over it. But it's your heart behind the story for your family that just solidified how grateful I am to have you at CEOAF as a coach right now. And I know Kimba feels the exact same way, but I was over here like in tears. I'm so grateful it wasn't on a 3-way slide of all three of us, because you're like talking about your wife and your daughter and there's no plan B. And I'm like,
Which I think so many entrepreneurs out there can relate with, right? For so many of us, there just was no plan B, and it was a situation of burn the ships, which is why I absolutely love that as your slogan inside of the CEOAF umbrella, because it is so relative to what we teach and what we do and what we believe in.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing, guys. So even with the shirts that Amanda and I have on right now, this is for each one of the CEOAF coaches. We do a merch line for them. So we develop out a merch line, and it goes for sale on our merch store on our website. And we always have them bring a story of motivation or inspiration that's led them on their path to develop out their merch line. And so that's when we're talking about the ships and the smoke. We're talking about his logo, his T-shirt, his merch line that we are going to be developing out for his Warrior Pod. And then when you sign up for Warrior One, the students inside the pods actually get one of their coaches' shirts to represent the culture of their pod and their camaraderie together, right? Which I'm really excited about. So Jonathan, do you mind if we jump into your experience and with CEOAF, man? Because you were one of the first original warriors in the pod, but not only original warrior, but an original client. When I first started coaching, he was one of the first people that jumped on and said, "Kimba, let's lock arms and grow my business, man. Burn the ships, right? I don't have a plan B. We need some guidance here." And you jumped in with us, and I've had so much fun working with you, I think for the last 2 years, on growing the business and scaling it and getting to be such a right-hand seat to everything that you've grown and done. So let's jump into that a little bit, Jonathan. What do you think was the way that the Warrior Program was able to impact yourself and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing has been the accountability, right? So we've got our group messages and our homework each week. So every time if I come in and I haven't done my homework, it's kind of like shy sitting in the back of the class. But the fact that it's a super tight knit group of people, like there's no hiding in the Warrior group, because I think at the most we had like 5 or 6 people in the group call. So it's definitely no shying away from it. So there's the accountability, and then also having other people, having coaches who have walked where I walked, or where I'm walking through right now. and asking questions about simple stuff as far as like invoicing, or even as complicated and complex as lawsuits and
Mm-hmm.
legal battles, things like that. And then just building all of that out, branding, so on, just having that group mentality of that we are all warriors conquering the mission together, but helping each with our own individual paths as well. So it's super good in that aspect. That's probably been the biggest thing.
I do love that so much. My favorite part is the "we are all warriors conquering the mission together," because that's in your personal life and your business. And the truth is it does take the entire army sometimes to get through some things. And so if your army does not have to be numbers, by the way, you guys, if you've listened to any of our other podcasts towards the beginning, you've heard me preach on a team full of A players, a 5-man crew full of A players will outrun a 100-man crew all day long. It'll happen. And I do truly believe that at CEOAF, we are that 5-man crew of A players. And we're here to make it fun while we run and the ships are on fire behind us. So I do enjoy that a lot.
It's almost like having a board of directors, right? When you come into the group chat inside of the Warrior Group, you're literally just dumping in there 2 other CEOs and high-level people. What do you guys think about this branding? What do you guys think about this new process that I have for my employees? Or how do you guys go about payroll? And it's almost like you have a board of directors without having to be a large corporation. You have a board of directors that you get to depend on, not only in your coaches, but in the other entrepreneurs inside of the pod, right? And then in the business stuff is so great. Jonathan, I'm gonna pick on you for being a big man right now, okay? Like the big, strong, masculine man in you, okay? Well, you talk to specifically the men out there about the mindset piece that we do inside of CEOAF, because for people following the podcast, they hear meditation, they see us do yoga, right? They see these different things. Can you share with people, the men, the 6'5" men out there, right? The big masculine men out there, the way that you've been able to take some of those and implement them into your own life, and maybe a little bit about what you would say to people that are like, man, I just don't really know about that stuff.
Yeah. So the really cool thing about like meditation and mindset, that is that it really, it doesn't necessarily change the circumstances around you, but it definitely changes you within your circumstance.
Boom.
Right. So that's
the
podcast
is over.
Thing.
Everybody go home.
Yeah. Park the car.
There's your mic drop right there. Right.
Yeah. No, that was great.
So, I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? Is whenever you're sitting in the middle of a stressful situation. So I'll give you a very brief, vague example from within my company. Having bills coming out, auto drafting out of your account and sending you into the negative, and you've got more, you got vendors, you've got subcontractors needing to be paid, and you're sitting there with $0 or less in your bank account, and there's so much going on around, right? So much noise that you just don't have time to focus on what do I need to do? How do I handle it? And so we even had this discussion this morning in my office. Is we had something come up and everybody kept talking about the problem. Everybody kept saying, this is happening. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. And I looked around and said, guys, y'all are looking at the problem, but not the solution. Like every word coming out of your mouth is about the problem. Let's start looking at the solution. And so by using meditation, that helps change your mindset to where you can actually focus in on the part that's important, because the problem isn't important. It doesn't matter what the problem is. The problem could be the building is on fire. Well, it doesn't matter how much you talk about the fire burning. That's not going to put the fire out. What's going to put the fire out is grabbing some water hoses, calling the fire department. Like that's what's going to put out the fire. I'm
sorry, Jonathan. I just love that reeling it back in, right? Being able to just reel it back in.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that mindset and meditation have to do with running a business, is being able to not get lost in the forest, but actually be able to see the whole forest and know exactly where you need to go and what you need to do.
To be able to stay centered and balanced even in the heat of the moment. Kimba and I like to say with our warriors, when shit hits the fan, where's your balance? Where's your center at? Do you have one? Because you're likely to fall back into a familiar routine or a familiar past. And if that is problem based for you or emotion based for you, then that's where you're going to find yourself every time the shit hits the fan, right? Every time the building's on fire, you're going to find yourself in that and not in the solution base. So I do absolutely love that you've found a balance and you've found a center. And I know you guys, if you can't tell already through Jonathan and the way that he speaks, one, with passion, two, with a sense of confidence, it's because he's walked it physically and he's done it physically and he's seen his wife and his baby and all the things and pulled them to the other side, you guys. So I do absolutely love all of this. But if you haven't found yourself on the other side of being the solution finder, please do find yourself starting with you, which is meditation. That is, in fact, what meditation stands for. It is what it means. Meditation is finding thyself. And so when you're finding thyself, you are quite literally, and Kimba can explain this better than I can for sure, so I'll give the mic over to her, but finding yourself in meditation, you guys, is, or through meditation, if you will, is a force to be reckoned with when you've mastered it. So Kimba, tell them more about meditation.
It truly isn't. And that's why we start with it in Warrior One, right? Before we even jump head first into building out the systems and processes and the thing that we know about growing a business, and you guys have just heard Jonathan do a great job of painting the picture, is, man, it's not fucking easy. It's just not easy. Not every day. Every day you're going to wake up and you're going to solve problems. Every day. That's what your job is going to be, right? You're going to get creative, you're going to have fun, and you're going to solve problems. And that's why meditation has been such a huge piece of my own entrepreneurial journey, and why we made it such a big part of the Warrior program is because I am feeling his soul as he's telling this story, and I'm sitting at my computer and there's emails coming in, a lawsuit got delivered, there's vendors that are needing to be paid, there's payroll over, there's marketing that needs to be done, there's all these things in this noise, as he called it, going on around us, which I love. And to be able to just cancel out some of that noise and come back to your center where you truly have power, within yourself, to be able to see the entire forest objectively. That's what he's talking about, to be able to rise above, to be able to hit a higher frequency and vibration, and not to operate from a place of fear or stress, because all that's going to do is manifest more fear and stress in your team. If I have 1 ounce of fear, my team is going to feel that tenfold. And so in Warrior One, we really pour into learning ourselves at a very, very, very deep level and harboring in that stability. And then we quickly move into building out the systems and processes that are going to help the business owner be able to maintain that stability throughout their growth. But that's something that they never lose. And that I've seen for 2 years, Jonathan never loses his ability to stay centered no matter what things throw his way. And another great thing, guys, about the Warrior program that I want you guys to know is our students inside of Warrior One, as they graduate through Warrior One and they become the master of these skill sets, they do have the ability to decide that they want to lead other people along the way. And that's exactly what Jonathan has done, right? He's mastered his meditation, he's built out his business process, and he's utilized the curriculum inside of Warrior One to be able to do that and have fun with it and get creative and scale in 2 years, more than some companies do in 20.
Boom.
To be honest with y'all. So Jonathan, with that being said, man, will you tell us a little bit about why you decided, because we asked Jonathan, we're like, we wanted Jonathan to coach. Yeah. We're like, Jonathan, we want you to be one of our coaches, but man, why did you say yes?
Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of hinted at it a little bit. Is just the ability to help people, right? So something I see so often, I've got so many friends who are small business owners. And one in particular, a good friend of mine, he runs 2 businesses here in town. He was telling me the other day about how he works 16 to 18-hour days. And I mentioned, coming on to the Warrior program, getting in the conference room, and he was like, I don't know where I'd have time to. Actually, I also asked him to join our fantasy football league. He said, how do you people have time to watch football? How do you have time to keep up with that? And then he went on telling me about his day, and he starts his day, I think it was like 5 or 6 a.m. where he gets started going to the gym, and then he works 6 hours at one business, another 6 hours at another business. And then in the afternoons, after all of that's said and done, he does deliveries for one of his businesses. Uh, and he's ending his work day at like 11 o'clock at night.
Oh,
And I told him, dude, that's just not sustainable. Like you need to be able to scale out a little bit where you can have a little bit of time to yourself. Um, and so I see business owners like that. I see businesses failing all around and they blame it on the economy. They blame it on COVID. They blame it on whatever, right? They blame it on all the outside forces. But in reality, businesses stay open through that all the time. Right. And it's just a matter of being able to help someone walk through that, the way that we've walked through it, the way that I've walked through it. I know the way that the rest of the Warrior coaches have been walking through it as well. So the biggest thing is being able to keep those small businesses open and turn them into large businesses.
Oh, I love that.
I do too. And that's exactly what we do at CEOAF, folks, is that we take business owners who feel like they own their job. And I've been there. I have owned, and we all start there. Most of us start by owning our job, right? And that's kind of the first cool thing is, well, I'm my own boss, right? But you're no one else's yet. You are your own boss. And then you have to be able to come in and build out the team to make it sustainable. And that's exactly what we do, and that Jonathan is passionate about doing, which I love because we all just get lit on fire over helping people start taking those hats off one at a time and be able to get back their quality of life. Because the reason that we start our business is for quality of life. And then we start a business that tends to take away the quality of life. And we do see that happen to so many people, which is why CEOAF begins in the first place, is because people came and said, Kimba, how are you able to scale the company? How are you able to still get in the yoga and the family time and all the things, girl? I'm over here like chasing my tail. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm all the things. And I'm like, well, there were levels to this shit, to be honest with you. I mean, first I had to heal myself. I still remember driving in my Jeep thinking, man, the levels that it took to get here. I had to learn myself. I had to heal myself. I had to start meditating. I had to learn my mind, body, soul connection. Then I had to start building out systems and processes, build the team, right? And I actually got the best compliment coming back from Hurricane Ian. I actually had one of my friends from Georgia called me and he said, girl, I can't believe you can just disappear from your business for a week. I said, man, to be honest with you, my general manager didn't call me one time, right? The business stayed going, which this time I chose to be in the hurricane doing the things. But man, that tells me I could have spent the week in Europe and everything would have been cool too. Right. And that's really what we're passionate about, helping business owners achieve. And so I just love, Jonathan, that you felt called because you are a leader. Jonathan is a leader in his community, in his church, and in his business, and in his family. And now he's chosen to be a leader in our our CEOAF family as well. And I'm just so grateful for that. Jonathan, what would you say to the people out there that are like, man, I don't know if the Warrior program is for me. What does it look like to work with Jonathan specifically in there, or just maybe any questions about the curriculum? Do you have any advice for people that are just kind of on the fence? Like, maybe I want to burn the ship, but I'm not really sure, man. I may still need that ship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So to address the first question, maybe the Warrior program's not for me. Here's the answer to that. You're wrong. Because it definitely is, right? If you're a business owner, if you are a leader within the business, even, someone who actually has the decision-making power to make those changes, like this is something that you need to do. And so what it's like to work with me, it's something that all my people tell me is that it's fun. Now I haven't had many coaching students yet, so it's just been from the CEO role, the business owner role. But we have a blast here at Free LLC. So I at least like to think that my personality and my character have something to do with that. That I'm just fun to be around, fun to work with, and we're actually going to get stuff done. We're not going to sit around and say, okay, well, you didn't do your homework this week. Maybe you'll get it done by next week. Like, no, we're going to implement. We're going to put in those processes. We're going to get you to the point where you don't have to work those 16, 18-hour days, or even, be working 25/7 or 25/8, as they call it.
Yeah.
Like that's not happening, right? We're going to We're going to bring that back to where you're working reasonable hours. You delegate, you put in those processes, the systems, and I love working fast. Like I love moving
He's
fast
an
because
executor.
like there's no time like the present. So
Jonathan,
why?
sign me up. Sign me. Where can I sign up under your pod, my friend? Same. I'm like, sign me up.
So
That was one of the number one things that I chatted with Kimba about whenever I partnered with Kimba Garcia at CEOAF was Jonathan Fell implements so quickly. He executes so quickly. So I'm super excited to see the pod, the group of entrepreneurs that get put under Jonathan Fell in November of 2022, you guys, because I have no doubt in my mind that he is taking his pod to the next level inside of one semester in the Warrior Program. Warrior Program 1 is built to hold entrepreneurs anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, you guys. 6 months is the time frame that one pod is held at a time. So your commitment to the Warrior Program is 6 months at a time, and Warrior 1 is meant to hold you up to 2 years. Every entrepreneur works at a different pace. Sometimes you have to hear it a few times for it to click and stick and get things implemented. But with Jonathan Fell as your coach, I have no doubt that he is going to burn the ship for you and force you to go one direction only.
We're going to go kill the Aztecs, period.
Yeah.
Like, there's not going to be a choice.
that's right.
And guys, inside of the Warrior Program, it's a curriculum-based program, right? So the coach's job is truly there to be the accountability buddy, to make, that's what we call it, the accountability buddy, right? To make sure that you get your homework turned in, to make sure that you're burning the ships, you're executing. They're there as a life coach, as a friend, as a confidant, you know, just somebody that you're able to come to. And then they're also the implementers of the program that Amanda and I built out around your curriculum is planned out for 6 months at a time. Your homework is planned out for 6 months at a time. And he is one of the best people that we could ask for to not only hold your hand when the time is right, but to kick your ass when the time is right as well. And that's truly what a good coach does. A good coach truly does care about your feelings and your emotions almost as much as they care about your results, right? That's where I know Jonathan is going to absolutely crush it. So, guys, I'm going to answer the question for Amanda here. Where do you sign up? Right? Where do you sign up? Head over to www.ceo-af.com. Click the Warrior Program. The application is now open. The Warrior Program does require an application process, guys, because this is a 6-month commitment to not only yourself, but to your coach, your pod, and to your business. Right? So you want to make sure before you apply that you have 6 months of commitment in you to burn the ships. But once you lock arms with CEOAF, Amanda, myself, Jonathan, our other coaches, it's one of those things where we go to war with you. You're not in it alone anymore, right? And the application process allows us to be able to put the right entrepreneurs in the pods. We do make them usually between 5 and 7 people in a pod at a time. And we really like to be mindful and intentional about who goes in those pods together and make sure that it's a great fit between the other people in the pod as well as the coach. One of the things that I say all the time and I truly will believe in for the rest of my life is that for the game to be won, the coach has to believe in the player and the player has to believe in the coach. So we're very intentional when we create these pods, but we're very excited to have our next group of talent, those next people to be on the board of directors for the rest of the CEOAF family. We're super excited to find you and invite you and love you into our tribe. So if you feel that that's you, head over, fill out that application. You'll jump on a call with Amanda and I. We'll answer Jonathan. You'll jump on a call with one of us, all of us, whatever it may be. We'll get your questions answered over the Warrior Pod and just make sure that it's a good fit for you and that you're a good fit for it.
Yep, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that you were able to make it on today with us, Jonathan Fell. I'm super pumped for your pod to be starting in November. It'll probably be the 2nd or 3rd week in November, you guys. We're finalizing some details depending on the applications that come through. And then we'll be ready to launch the 6-month commitment program probably 2nd or 3rd week in November. So if you are ready, you know where to sign up, ceo-af.com. Tongue twister. And you can join the Warrior Program there.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. Jonathan, thank you for being here today. I know.
Yeah, thank y'all so much.
I know you're out there crushing it, man. So I always appreciate getting to spend a couple minutes with you. That's the other thing. He always shows up to the calls happy. I don't care what kind of day Jonathan has. He never shits it on anyone else.
He's
And I
balanced.
just appreciate that so much.
He's found his balance.
He has his zen.
Jonathan.
That's right.
Yeah.
We just love it. We love you so much, Jonathan. Everybody out there, thank you guys for listening to our podcast. Make sure that if you when you hear a nugget in a podcast, go ahead and share it, man. Go ahead and share that whole podcast to your social media. Because the thing, guys, is that the ripple effect goes on forever. The ripples of the pond continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is exactly what our impact is doing here at CEOAF. It's spreading and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's thanks to you guys who go in, share our content, share our podcast. We love you so much, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.